Okay, so at this point you may just want to try your bag on your shoulder and make sure that the straps don't need any adjustments at all. So now that we have our handles lined and attached to our bag here, now we're going to go ahead and complete the final step, which is attaching our lining to our bag. So you're going to pop this inside. Once you've got your lining inside of your bag, the next step is going to be to attach our lining here over the straps. So this is going to give us a bit of extra strength to our bag if we add some nice strong stitches here at this point, and then we'll turn it over and do the same at that point as well. So you want to make sure at this stage that your lining is overlapping the bottom bit of your strap, so that your strap is encased inside of the bag. And we're going to put some stitches along here and along here. And you want your lining to be just underneath the outside of your bag, so by about 1/4 inch lower than the edge of your crochet. And you're going to stitch along, just along the width of the strap handles to start with. And you can either do that with a back stitch by hand or by putting it through your machine. So we just want to make sure at this stage that our seam, our stitches are going to go over the lining, the bag strap and the outside of the crochet bag. So if you've got your bag strap in about 1 inch down, and then you've got your lining about 1/4 inch from the top of your crochet bag, then you use a 1/4 inch seam allowance or the side of your presser foot as a guide to go along here. So you'll be stitching a 1/4 inch from the top of your lining, the bag lining. Then that should certainly catch all of the bits that it needs to catch. So I'm going to take my pin out now that I've got everything in place. I'm going to do a few stitches and then back, and then to the end of the bag strap, and then another few back stitches. And that's how that looks. Once you've attached your lining here, here, here and here at the bottom of each of the bag straps, you're ready for the final steps, which is to finish off along the top, joining your lining to the rest of the bag. Now, I have done this by machine and by hand, and I think I prefer it done by hand, this step. So that's what I'm going to do with this bag. So to hand sew the top of our lining of our bag, what I'm going to do is all the way around as we go. We're going to want to make sure that it's at this sort of level where we sewed it in at this point. So we want about a 1/4 inch from the top of our crochet as we work our way along. So just trying to make sure that you're keeping it at that point as you go. You could pin it if you want to keep it all in place. I tend to just kind of hold it in place as I go with the bit that I'm working on. So you want to make sure that the corner of your bag lining is lined up with the corner of your bag, like that, of the crochet part of your bag. And then I'm going to put a stitch in here like this. And I'm going to go round on that same spot 3 times. So pull it nice and tight. And then I'm just going to work my way along, picking up a little bit of crochet like this and a little bit of the lining. tiny bit of crochet and tiny bit of lining, and then the same again, tiny bit. And this is quite a therapeutic process that you can just sit and do in front of the TV or while listening to a podcast or listening to some music. Just working your way along, picking up a tiny bit of crochet and a tiny bit of your lining fabric, and just making sure that you're keeping it about 1/4 of an inch from the top of your crochet. So once you've sewn all the way around the top of your bag, either with a machine stitch around this area here or with a hand stitch along the top like I have on this one, this is how the finish will look of the inside of your bag there, just around the top. And then only one final step that I would include, it's not 100% essential, but if you've got a contrasting lining, you want the corners of your lining to stay down in the corners like this. Let me show you. So you want that little green bit to stay in the corner there. If you don't do this last step, then it might come away a little bit like that now and again. If your lining isn't a contrasting lining, then that doesn't really matter. It will just kind of stay down around the bottom end of your bag. But if you want it to stay in the corner like that, like I do with this one, then you can just pop a couple of little hand stitches, the same as we did around the top, but just take a little bit of the corner of the bag and attach it to a little bit of the corner of the crochet. So a little bit of the corner of the lining, attach it to a little bit of the crochet with a couple of little stitches. And then the same on that corner to keep that one in place. And then that should keep the bottom of your bag in place. And that is it. Once you've trimmed off any excess ends of cotton that are hanging around, then your crochet bag is complete with lining. Now it's ready for you to take shopping or take out wherever you're planning to use it. I hope you've enjoyed this summer stitch along. I've loved sharing it with you. Keep sharing your pictures and tagging Ray's Room. For lots of support and inspiration on this pattern and others, join the Ray's Room Crafters Facebook group. And don't forget to join me for the next stitch along, which is on the 14th of August. See you then.